Welcome to Invest Insights. I'm Abby Maloney. I'm joined today by Eddie Seymour, the principal and founder of Flux Architects. Eddie, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
And what about personally? Are there any hobbies that you picked up during the pandemic,
I
or
did.
ways that you've
Yeah.
invented yourself that you see continuing moving forward?
I got into a lot of kayaking. That's something that I hadn't really
Very
done before.
good.
But I like to be outdoors, to be active. So when the shutdown happened, me and my friends we started going kayaking to all the intercoastal islands and just hanging out for a bit. So that was fun. And we
South
still
Florida is
do.
a pretty beautiful place to be able to do that.
It is. It is. I love this place.
You know, the national dialogue has been that people are moving away from cities into suburban areas. But in Florida, we haven't entirely experienced that narrative. The urban core is still filling up, and Flux Architects has been significantly expanding in affordable housing. And that kind of ties into the whole piece here. You know, housing has gotten far more expensive, and affordable housing was a problem prior to the pandemic. It's absolutely an issue now in many areas, to include South Florida, at this moment in time as we're entering this post-pandemic climate. What
Mhm.
do you believe is being done on the local, state, and federal level to incentivize more affordable housing development in metro areas like Miami-Dade? And what more would you like to see being done?
Right. So on the local municipal level, we are seeing a strong push and commitment to affordable housing projects. So, for example, we're seeing cities incentivize affordable housing projects by increasing building height, density, reduce parking, also reduce impact fees. Those are all things that help the financial stack of a project when it comes to the feasibility. On the state and federal level, we are also seeing a stronger commitment to increasing the funding sources for these kinds of projects through the tax benefit programs and also through the Opportunity Zone program, which that one is a little bit more, it's different. It's based on location of the project, but those are all things that add up, right? A few percentage points here, a few percentage points there, and the projects might be feasible. Now, having said that, the need is so strong that that's still not enough, right? We need to do more. And I would say something that I would like to see more of is better marketing of these programs on a local level. We've seen a few municipalities that do have these programs in place. However, they're not clear on how these can be applied, and it causes confusions a lot of times. So I think that would help a lot if we're able to sort of clarify that across the board and just make it clear for everyone to understand what are the incentives to do these kind of projects.
In our interviews that we're having for our Invest series, we're consistently hearing how Florida is an ideal location for development with low taxes, a large pool of young talent, and a particular focus on sustainability. That said, what would you identify as some of the greatest hurdles that you're facing in new development in the state? And how is this particularly challenging from an architectural perspective?
Right. So I would say for sure, in my opinion, the biggest challenges are public transportation and infrastructure. So as of right now, we're still very heavily dependent on cars to get around, but there will come a point where the existing roadway systems can no longer hold that capacity. And I don't care how many double-decker highways you build, that somehow that never seems to really solve the problem. So I think we're going to have to transition into other methods, like the high-speed railway, like Brightline, also the rapid bus transit systems, and maybe even the tunnel systems that they're looking at in Fort Lauderdale with Elon Musk and the Boring Company. And I also know that they're having that same discussion to implement that system here in Miami as well. And then there's also the issue of sea level rise, right? So we are seeing a lot of municipalities increase their base flood zone elevation. So the first floor of a building has to be above that level, and that's going to pay dividends. That's going to save a lot of money, millions of dollars potentially, in flood damage that will be prevented through the years. Other cities are raising their existing roadway systems and infrastructure. They're also installing pumps to discharge excess flood water. So I think we're making a strong commitment in the right direction. But ultimately, sea level rise is a global issue. It's not something that we can just fix here locally. So I think it's going to take a global effort. Otherwise, we might be in trouble. But I'm confident that we'll be able to meet that challenge. And then from an architecture point of view, I would say we as architects have to design better, more efficient mixed-use buildings. in order to create what we call the work, live, play environment, right? The idea that you have high density living units, amenities, commercial retail, office, all within one building, creating that environment. So you'll be able to pretty much do everything you need from your day-to-day life within 5 to 10 minutes of your location. And that will further reduce the need for cars in the roadways, which means less traffic, less car accidents, and less pollution. And I think that's a win-win for everyone.
With the lack of available land in more urbanized areas of Miami-Dade like Brickell and downtown, development has begun to look westward towards areas like Little Havana and West Flagler. As you design projects in these areas, how do you find the balance between modern development and retaining the character of these historic neighborhoods?
Yeah, so that's always a challenge for us. I think number one, you always want to try to maintain or repurpose existing buildings. Just because they're older structures doesn't mean that they have outlived their serviceable life. So we always try to look at those kind of projects. And whenever you cannot, maintain the existing structures, then always try to study the history of that neighborhood. Understand what was there before. Try to implement some of that history on the architectural features of the building, whether it be through the materials, the colors, or maybe art murals in some instances. And usually when you're able to do that, you can create a bridge between what used to be there and what is now. And then this is something where I think the affordable housing also plays a major factor, because when you're able to retain a lot of the residents that currently live there in that neighborhood, you're also able to retain a lot of the culture and the history of that neighborhood. So I think that's really probably the biggest factor more than anything else.
And now that we find ourselves in this new economy and landscape, what's next for Flex Architects and the architecture industry in general?
Well, I'm pretty excited, to be honest with you. I feel like Miami and South Florida in general are at the beginning of a golden age for construction and development. I think it's going to last 10 years, maybe more. I'm also excited to see what prefab and modular construction are going to look like. I think that's going to become more prevalent. And over the next decade or so, I think that's going to have a major impact on the affordability issue. But yeah, I'm excited. I feel like I'm at the right place at the right time. And, I love Miami. I'm a 305 guy. I wasn't born here, but I'm definitely rep the 305.
Sounds like you're the best place to be. Well, thank you again. That was Eddie Seymour, the principal and founder of Flux Architects. My name is Abby Maloney, and you've been watching Invest Insights. Thank you again, Eddie.
Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date on the latest business trends from our knowledgeable experts. Be sure to check out the description below for more information on the segment you just watched. Thanks for tuning in.